Welcome back, everybody. Did you bring your cup? Did you? Did you? Did you bring your cup? Did you bring your cup?
I did not.
Okay. Strike one for the new guest. Not looking good. We have two people here today. We have Vanni Bain, or the very confused, possibly male name, but spelled differently, Giovanni Bain. Then we have Lars, who's always here because he lives here and he doesn't pay rent. But he does in pooping more than he weighs. So, if you would like to introduce yourself and who you are, and there is no gun pointed to your head, so just go crazy.
Well, I'm Vanni. I'm a graphic designer. I'm Stino's friend. I'm lucky enough to call myself that. We went to school together. Lars is fighting a box right now, and I just like art, pretty much.
She likes art, guys.
Yep.
Look at that. Vanni's one of my best friends. We met in college. It was
I think month one,
it was
but like
month one.
late into it.
It was late into it.
Yeah.
And my first, so it was with this like old friend group, and some of the guys, were friends with this girl, and then the girl was like, I have two other friends, and then when she introduced them to us, I was like, Vanni was there. I'm like, well, who's, am I gonna have my first Asian friend in high school? Didn't completely overshot that one. She's not Asian. But for about half of our friendship, I did think she was Asian. So you don't truly get to know someone until you know someone.
Exactly.
But the moment that my friendship was activated with you is when I saw her in the pouring rain carrying.
I'm so glad you said this because that's what's
I saw her in the pouring rain carrying an entire watermelon,
and roller skates.
Right there, I was like, yeah, she's
Yep.
good. She's good.
Yep.
How much of that watermelon did we eat?
I think you guys ate the whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
It was either that or we didn't even touch it because we wasted a lot of food.
Yeah.
We would bring all this food and then we just wouldn't touch it.
I remember I couldn't even find the apartment, and then I finally walked in and you were the first person there, and I was just like, here's a watermelon, and you were like, okay.
I was like, I don't know what's going on, but hey, I like to play chess too, brother. Come on now, This blend right here, as always, shout out Mitra. Please sponsor me. Just please sponsor me.
One day.
But yeah, that's when the friendship started.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since then, me and her just going to college, not seeing each other ever, and then the friend group broke up and blah blah blah. And but me and Vanni always stayed strong. And then let's see. I think I'm trying to remember. And then Vanni, she's a great graphic designer. She'd already by this point done a ton of stuff for me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this and you want some of that, all of her links are going to be in the episode description and stuff like that. So just hit her up, tell her what you need. Mm-hmm. She's going to work with you. She's great. But speaking of graphic design, I know how to get under your skin.
Yes, you do. You do know very well.
I know how to get under your skin, and you too will know how to get under her skin. Yes. When I say this, what's the ratio of wanting to kill yourself and making logos? Is it pretty 50-50?
I think it might be a little bit more like it just depends. Logos is one of those things. It's very hit or miss.
It is.
And it also depends if the client knows what they want or if they're just like do whatever. So I'm like,
but then they don't like what you make when
exactly
when they say do whatever, and then you're like, well, stupid. You said do whatever. I did whatever.
Yeah.
But now you don't want whatever. You want this.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that. What are some? Do you have any? Obviously you don't have. Don't name names, but any certain apart from me. Any certain what's the word? I guess for the lack of better terms, any gigs that just really just sucked.
I think so far, I think I've just had a lot of people that reached out to me, and I start the process, and then they're like, "Oh no, I'm fine. Like, it's all right," and I'm already like halfway into it, and I'm like, "Darn, okay, that sucks." But I don't think like any that I finished that it's been like hard for me to like wrap my head around and like really like push me kind of.
Now is that limbo of you to the client in school, because this is what she went to school for.
Yes.
In classes, is that something that they told you to expect? Like
very much. We had to get used to, so like for some of our assignments we would have to make a logo, but we would have to go through like 150 sketches. So say you already had an idea, sketch number 1, you had to find 149 other ways to redo it, whether it's just moving around text or moving this one item or like changing out that item and stuff.
I think that's actually pretty. That sounds like it would be really effective.
It is, but at the same time, it's
pretty
like
tedious.
Now I have to force myself to push out these ideas when I already know like this is the one I'm gonna go for. So now it's just let me tweak this a little bit just to hit that requirement kind of. But definitely in like real world, having like those multiple options and definitely different styles and multiple options for each style is definitely like the way to go.
Yeah, I could imagine. I was friends with a couple graphic designers, and they would all tell me stories of really crap clients. If it was, they agreed on a pretty large budget, but both parties agreed, and then when they made it, the person was like, "Oh well, something came up, and I can only, I know you wanted, I know you wanted 800, but I can only give you, 30 in a bottle cap." So
yeah, definitely being like college student, it was definitely hard finding like serious clients, because you definitely have like a bunch of people that came up and was like, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do this?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I would love that experience." But
they're also college students.
Yeah. So it was like trying to find that balance between the experience and also still getting paid for something.
I feel like at a point you would almost kind of know who, like, what kind of client is gonna deliver, what kind of client isn't gonna.
100%.
What kind of client could you expect, and when it does happen, then you say to yourself, "Well, I saw that coming." I imagine you get a pretty good radar with that.
Kind of, yeah. It was definitely like a culture shock when I got like my first real client, like out of family stuff that I do. Like obviously they would pay me, but like having someone that I did a logo for, but this logo I actually enjoyed. This was a fun logo to do.
That's right.
But it was definitely a culture shock, being like, oh, like I charge this amount, and it's like, that's super low for what you're charging. I'm gonna pay you this instead. And I'm like,
wow.
For me as a designer, I'm like, okay,
that's
like
super cool.
I don't even know how to like comprehend that, like, oh, is that like overcharging, or is that still like, is that the right amount that I'm supposed to be charging? Because in school they're like, oh, pay what you think your time is worth, but like how do you calculate that properly with the amount of work that you do, kind of.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's really similar to music, like because I've got thousands of dollars worth of gear right here, but I could have a session that lasts 10 minutes using these $1,000 gear, and then the client's like, "Oh, well, we only recorded for 30 minutes on your very expensive second
Yeah.
best condenser microphone in the public market. Why are you charging me triple digits?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, well, dude, I mean, let's say a client, right, like there's different prices for recording and producing and then mixing and then mastering. It's all separate. So there's gonna be an hourly number for recording, but then everything else is just one number. And then someone could say, well, you produced me this 3-minute song, but you charged me the same as you produced this 8-minute song for this other guy. Well, look, are the songs much different in length? Yes, but here's the thing: I did them in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
I did them in the same amount of time, and even if I didn't do them in the same amount of time, it was still, I was applying the same things to each one. Exactly. Obviously, if there was something that was very short and very small, I'm not crazy. I would obviously charge a whole lot less for that. I take that into account for like friends. Friends always get less than what I usually charge. Always. I just got a gig recently that a poet wanted to come by and record like 10 poems. And I was kind of in that limbo because as someone who sells creative things, you know that you never give them a price.
Yeah.
You ask them what their budget is.
Yeah.
And this is really good for both parties because on one hand, you're not lowballing yourself.
Yeah.
Because personally me, I'm super self-conscious about what I make.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think it's worth what I don't think it's worth what people say I should charge. But when I say, what's your budget, that takes that off of my chest.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that removes the possibility of you throwing out a number that's $500 less than what they were going to say.
Exactly. And plus you know what limits you can actually push yourself to, because you're not going to throw everything in the kitchen sink into a song if they're like, oh, I can only do this much.
Yep.
But you're still going to give them like a good quality song, just not to the same extent.
Exactly, and then for them, it's on one hand, someone smart would pick up on what I'm doing, but if they have common sense and a good head on their shoulders and their mama treated them right, they would obviously recognize, okay, he's just doing the seller's the seller jargon right now, but what that opens up for them is they can now choose basically where it is.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, they have lost the opportunity to try to lowball me, which I'm not really mad about because I would do the same. Let's be real. Like if you could lowball someone for something, we're all gonna take it. It's kind of like when you see people on the news of like this person was arrested for evading taxes. I'm like, we all want to do that. Are you kidding me? Don't.
Yeah.
This is not legal advice, but don't. But it's kind of like, like when regardless of politics, like when it came out that like people were talking about like raise your hand if you paid more taxes than Trump this year. It's like, dude. Let's talk to him, figure that stuff out. We gotta put me on that plan, darn it. But yeah, asking them for a budget makes it so much easier. So when I did this with this poet, we kind of went back and forth. What's your budget? They would say, oh, well, I don't know how much this is normally charged. I say. It doesn't matter what you don't know, just be mindful about how much you're willing to spend per poem.
Yeah.
Think about it in that way. Oh, well, I don't know what it usually goes for. I say you don't have to. I could be making you 30 quesadillas. Just how much are you willing to spend on 30 quesadillas?
Yeah.
I know you don't know how much quesadillas are, but what is your just overall uneducated budget.
It's like the same conversation, like, do you charge hourly for a
Mm-hmm.
project, or do you charge, like, the whole sum? Because, like you said, you could have a 3-minute song, and you could have an 8-minute song, and the 3-minute song is going to take you a lot quicker, depending, but do you charge for a 3-minute song, or do you charge, like, a good amount so that you still get the benefit of, like, doing that?
So, like, a length of a song would be just a flat rate for the production, but the recording, if you're recording for a 3-minute song or recording for an 8-minute song, the moment I hit R on the keyboard, that clock starts, and then that's how much I ask them to pay hourly, because it can take a long time. It couldn't take a long time, but talking to this poet, we finally got to he finally gave me a number, and I was like, this is exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And then he's a really good friend of mine, so I threw him like $50 less, which is compared to what I'm going to be getting paid, really, and compared to what I'm going to be doing, a poet.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so easy. Are you joking? But that's not the point, right? It's not that.
It's everything else that
exactly.
Like, the process is easy, but it's still a lot of work that goes through.
Exactly, because and when I first heard this, I thought it was genius, and I truly have never heard it explained like this before. It's not about how long it takes. It's about how long it took you to get to the point where
like,
it doesn't take you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Who was it? Some famous painter. Yeah, you should know. You should know painters. Come on. No, it was some admirer of this painter came up to this famous painter with a napkin and said, "Please draw me something." And then the artist drew it, and then the famous painter said, "Okay, that will be $500." And then the person goes, "Well, why $500? It's just on a napkin." On a crappy napkin, and it only took you a minute, and then the painter said it again, the same thing I just said. It's not about how long it took me, it's about how long it took me to get here. And when I first heard that, I'm like, that's perfect. That's genius, because I remember when I first moved to Florida for all of this, I had it set in my head that I would be selling beats for like $20.
Yeah.
Dude, I know that some of you might not understand like what the normal market is for that stuff, but anything that you produce, in my opinion, should be no less than $100.
Oh yeah.
No less.
That's like with logos. Like I was having the issue, like, how do I even begin to price stuff? And so, like, I was doing some research, and like on the low end, logo should start around like $500. But the normal is like $1,000, because that would be like the logo, your letterhead, like anything like stationery wise, kind of. And I'm like, how do I ask for $1,000?
Because it's got to be because I might be talking out of my fuzzy little rear, but I believe it's also like, it's almost like a live service to an extent, because once you make all the logo and the variants, because the client is paying that much, they are also, for lack of better terms, they're also entitled to them being able to say like, oh, you know, they want us to make this new page on our website, and we need this new kind of, it's this kind of themed page for something, and we need another version. How would that go down?
So, like, are you saying, like, the logo's already been made?
Yeah, like all of the art, the branding, the logo, but then something else came up, and they're like, oh, we need a PNG for a pamphlet that we're gonna print.
That's easy, because most of the time, like, what I do is I give them multiple versions of that logo. So, like, I'll give them a JPEG for whatever they need, but I'll mainly send, my go-to is, like, the PNG. I'll send it in both, like, completely black, or I'll send the colored version and then maybe like a solid white or a solid black, whichever one. So I give them multiple options, so then that way when the time comes where they do need to put it on something, that they have all, like, everything that they need, and they don't have to keep going back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah. And similar thing with music, right? So if you do music, you'll be able to say this with me, but when you are either getting studio time or giving studio time, the client should leave with, I believe it's the client should always leave with 4 different things. If it's a song, the full song, regular 16K, good bit rate, WAV file, song, audio file. So the full song, a radio edit. So this is the clean edit. A performance track, and then a fourth one I'm forgetting. I think it was only 3, but it's 3 or 4. The fourth one is even more nicher. It's like super specific. Okay. Typically, I like to give clients a couple more things. So if I just make them one song, or maybe multiple songs, well, each song is going to have a folder with these different things. I usually like to give them the straight up WAV file, then an MP3 version, because WAV files are a lot bigger than MP3 files. So if you wanted to, for example, like on my website, I have a catalog of all of the songs I made for projects in the school. Those are all MP3 files because they load a lot faster on the website. It's audio files on a website. It doesn't need to be a WAV audio. So I give them WAV, MP3, clean / radio edit. I give them the instrumental, and then I give them the instrumental. There are a couple versions. Is it an instrumental without the vocals? Is it an instrumental without certain instruments? Let's say it's a song where they played the guitar and sang. Obviously, when they perform this live, they're going to be playing the guitar too, right? So I give them a couple versions: instrumental without the vocals, instrumentals without the guitar, and instrumentals without the vocals and the guitar. And I put it in a folder, zip it up. That is the deliverable. Yeah. What about now? Let's say I understand when you make like a logo. Like there's a bunch of different deliverables. What are those, and then what are the other possible options?
So for like a basic logo, the logo itself, because you could do like a brand identity package where you've got like the things like the logo, your business card, this and that. For like a basic logo, pretty much like I'll use one of the ones I did. It was a photographer that I did, and I gave him 2 different versions of his logo. I gave him like a circle logo, and then I gave him like the word mark logo. And so I gave him both of those. I gave him watermarked versions of those, so that way he could put it on his photos and stuff. Oh my gosh,
Lars. Now, if you've watched the podcast, you would know that this is what gets him on the balcony. Okay. If he does it again, he goes on the balcony. Because again, these headphones. Okay, so...
yeah, I gave him solid versions of each logo. Okay. I gave watermarked versions. I send those all, like... I pretty much organize everything into folders. So, like, if I have style 1 over here, then I have solid, watermarked PNG, like, all those versions in one. Okay. Then another folder for the other logo style. Pretty much put those all together, zip it, and that's pretty much good to go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's all about, obviously, what the client wants. Yeah. Is the client happy? Now, let's say you do that for a client, and for some reason, they back out, and they don't want it anymore. But they haven't paid you yet. You've already done all the work, but they haven't paid you. They were cool with it up until right now. Yeah. What do you do? And has that happened?
that's definitely happened where I don't think I've been done with it, but I've been like damn near there kind of. It's definitely important to ask for the deposit because I've shot myself in the foot that way before. Like, at least pay half before and half after.
Yeah, for
we learned that, or one of the like counselors at school kind of came in and he was talking how before he even opens his laptop for a consultation alone, he charges like a set amount. So like before he does any work for his time alone, he gets that money at least somehow.
That's good.
And then he'll charge another.
That's good.
Like set of money for when he's actually starting the work and how the whole process will cost and stuff. So that's definitely something that I personally need to implement because I've been doing like, oh, just give me like half before, half after, but definitely sometimes you still like shoot yourself in the foot a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, even when I work with Vanni, I know like maybe a couple projects ago, I started asking you just straight up like, hey, can I pay you half right now? Because I didn't understand that before then, but once I understood it, I'm like, no, that's really smart. I never thought about that. So then when I would ask her like if I had something that I would like her to do, I did get to a point where I kind of learned like, okay, like I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start saying like, hey, Bonnie, let me pay you half before we do this or whatever. But that's the thing is like, you shouldn't be embarrassed if you don't understand how this all works. Like,
it's definitely good to like just ask questions so then that way you're on the same page. Like, I'm not gonna judge you if you're like, okay, like pretty much I don't know how like this usually costs kind of, or like I don't know the process of it. Like when I have someone come to me and they're like, okay, like what does this price entail, and I'll straight up give you like the whole process. I'm like, it includes this many like changes, and after that it's a separate fee. It's this version, that version, black and white, everything you get pretty much into one, and that way you have all the information you can actually decide.
You just have to ask, you know, because when I first started into this, like I kind of sucked as a client because all of us were so new to this.
Yeah.
I especially was, and I certainly wasn't shy. So when I knew my friends could do stuff, I would ask them. But when around that time, I at that point didn't understand how to do it professionally yet.
Yeah.
I was really happy that my friends were really gracious with me. Some of them weren't, the ones that aren't here. But all I needed them to do was just be honest with me and say, hey, Stino, like, you've just gotta, like, I understand you want this, but you just have to understand that we can't do this and that and this. But at that point, I just didn't understand. I hadn't been doing this for a long time yet. But yeah, don't be embarrassed to ask the person you are hiring questions, even if it feels stupid, because honestly, and you think you might agree, but that would almost make us feel better too.
Yeah.
To see that they actually are wanting to understand what they're paying for, how they're gonna pay it. Just being open, right?
Because then it helps later on too. Because like, say you don't ask any questions throughout the whole process, and then I finally give you the end result, and then that's when all the questions come out. But it's not like it's like, oh, I thought you were gonna do this. Oh, I thought you were gonna do that, and it's like, no, that's not.
It could have been really helpful to know that prior. Yeah. And now, let's say Vanni's feeling a little generous that day. Let's say she does go through with doing those things, she, now there is an air of annoyance that we could have avoided.
Yes. It could be an easy fix, but it's still the fact that, like, because I know I'm the type of person, I'm like, okay, is there anything else? Is there anything else you want? And if you're like, no, perfect, great, go, like, get her done, and then last minute you're like, oh, this thing that you could have fixed 20 things ago, like...
Yeah. Yep, I get that. Like, you would think people would understand. Like, I've had clients who are artists, and the thing with artists and singers and rappers is not all of them understand what's going on, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, to be a performer and not know what's going on behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
That is so crazy to me because I've never experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are rappers and singers who are purely just that.
Yeah.
They go into the studio not knowing what the heck is going on and then leave. So I'll record someone and blah blah blah. It'll all be done, and then they'll ask me to change something about the vocal.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like going to a pizzeria, eating a pizza, and being like, "Oh, I didn't like the mushrooms. Could you take them off?" Like, dude, you've already ate it. Like, it's already done. The thing with vocals is I can do a lot of things with vocals. I'm very good with vocals. I can make every note you sang a different note. I can make you louder. I can make you softer. There's a lot of things I can do with vocals, but there's one thing, and this is the most important thing, that no Tiesto, Leslie, no one could ever change this. It's not possible. It's the delivery.
Yeah.
You cannot change that.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
And when a rapper or a singer has really poor delivery and they want me to change it, they say, make me sound more...
Make me sound cooler.
Excited. I'm like,
yeah.
Dude, what are you smoking, dude?
Yeah.
Like, what... I really want to know what's going on in your head that makes you think that we've attained this kind of magic. Like, because, dude, you must be Hey, I'm not Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I try to explain to them, like, dude, you can't change the delivery, man. The delivery's final. And I asked you to do multiple takes, but you said, no, I'm a one take kind of guy. That's all I need. I'm like, all right, buddy. Well, you're paying for this, and it's not a good take.
Yeah,
Mr. One Take. But yeah, no, it's to really learn the nuances of it. It's kind of a hit or a miss. You have to do a lot of things free at first, and
that's how it was for like. It's so hard because the school that we went to, like, in theory, the idea is great because we have to go to a bunch of like networking summits and stuff, and you're constantly around people that need art, whether it's music or it's graphic design. For me, I was in a field of people that needed album covers, that needed this, that needed that, and then they'd go to ask you for it, and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I would love to do that.
It sounds great.
And then they're like, can you do it for free? And I'm like, no. And then, like, obviously, like, getting my name out there would be great, but then with that kind of attitude, they're just gonna come back expecting more free stuff, and it would be harder to nip in the bud later than to start out now. And, like, I love doing, like, music graphic design. Like, most of the stuff I've been doing recently has been, like, band work, and I absolutely love doing that, but it's just hard finding a band that needs that right now that can also afford it, because a lot of them are, like, most of the gigs aren't getting paid as much as they would like to, and so that money's going towards gas for them going to these gigs or going towards, like, this and that. And so
some of these gigs, unfortunately, you have to pay to play.
Yeah, you have to
which
pay
is
to
the
play.
worst.
Yeah.
I could do a full episode on how bullshit that is.
Yeah, especially for, like, some of them, like, it's a big event, and you get asked to play, but then you have to pay, even though you were asked, like, invited to play.
And that is something that I learned pretty, not late, but, like, I didn't learn as fast as I wanted to.
Yeah.
That no artist or band should ever do this. Yeah. Ever. I didn't know. I think I've only paid twice to perform somewhere. One was an audition, which I think that one is a little bit more fine, just because the paid auditions are not uncommon.
Yeah.
But especially the Ponzi scheme ones, me and Juan almost did one where the flyer was made, the flyer was posted, the event was posted, but then the event planner said, man, it's so funny. He said, you can only play if you bring 10 people. and those people have to pay.
Yeah.
Dude, like, and then me and Juan backed out. Yeah, it's
There's some places that just have an insane cover charge too. Like, I get that they're trying, like, they'll book like 5 bands to play, but then not that many people are gonna come. Especially to some of these venues, like, not that many people are gonna come, so they're charging $20 to $40,
which is gonna make less people come.
Exactly, yeah.
And
plus, if you think about it, like, half of the people that are coming are there with the band. Like, they help set up, so they get in free anyway.
Yep. Like, I think a cover charge should reflect two things. I think it should reflect, and I think this is the most important thing that determines the cover charge. I think the venue is more important than who's playing.
Yeah.
Obviously, unless the people who are playing are like famous or something. But I think it's the venue, like the old cafe.
Yeah.
Those cover charges were sometimes pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I did try. You
never knew if you were gonna get charged or not. That's the thing.
I did manage to make them better. I told them to lower it because you're paying $10, but then you can walk the entire space in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is how many people are playing. What are they doing? Yeah. So sooner or later the cafe did implement a thing where you pay $6, but then you get a free 16-ounce drink.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. But that was like.
Was that later on?
That was when the open mic was popping.
Okay.
For that that little window.
Yeah.
And you wonder why it was popping because me and Brittany with
you got
brains in our heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. It just depends on who's playing and what the venue is. And
I think the bands definitely make the venue sometimes, but if you've got a shady venue, like it's underground music, like, but still some venues, like, you wonder, like, why it is that they're charging that much.
How much heroin is being pushed out of this
we went
space.
To a place the other day,
and oh man, tell me.
It was in a business park, first of all.
Yes.
And so I'm like, okay, this is a little strange, but all right. We walk in, and it's a room. It's like fairly okay, not much happening. There's a bar that takes up the whole back wall,
Good.
And you're like, okay, like understandable music. Sure. People are gonna want to drink. I look to my left of said bar. 2 white garage fridges are sitting there, and that is the extent of their bar display.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah. No, I performed at this place. It was a room. Imagine this whole wall is still here, but this whole space is just one big box.
Yeah.
Like if you were to cut out that and just make it all even, that was the size of the place. No chairs.
Yeah.
It was just a cement floor, a few lights. No stage.
Yeah.
And there was a cover. I was like, man, this, and I watched with my own eyes. I watched the guy who was taking people's tickets. And in the same amount of time, I watched him deal cocaine.
Oh my goodness.
So when I was. And I was sitting outside because I just couldn't take all of the smoke that was in there. And I was like,
oh yeah.
You guys see? No, is this? This is.
It's so normal.
This is like normal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Those powders. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like right in front of me, he did it with like six people. These people knew he had it.
Yeah. There was a place that I went to that it's so weird how they think that, like, the layout works. It's downtown. It's, like, in Orlando. And you walk in, and you're automatically met with, like, obviously the person, like, doing coverage stuff. But then you're met right after them with the bar. And the bar is not a small bar. Like, think of this room. Think of you pretty much have the bar smack dab in the middle, but it takes up majority of the room, and you only have a small rectangle to walk.
Okay.
And the stage is over by the door.
Okay.
So you've got the stage over there. Everybody's pulling in right there, but you have the bar right behind them, and then you just have this small little area to walk. And so I'm like, this is shady. Like,
Super shady.
If we're downtown, if someone pops off, we're not moving.
And I'm guessing you had to park, like...
Yeah.
The parking sucked.
Yeah. And then there's this side door to, like, a back room. You've got a dude in slides,
Good.
basketball shorts, and a police vest on.
There you go.
That says, like, security and stuff.
Good
and
deal.
he's walking back and forth between this room and stuff. And it's
Good
shady.
deal.
I'm like, oh my God.
You're just so out of place.
Honestly, yeah.
Did you ever feel that way when you would come to some of my stuff? I think I picked all right places.
Yeah, there was none that I was like,
Yeah.
Stina, we gotta go.
The thing with venues and I have, like, if I wrote the Bible, I would have a chapter called
Venues, do's, and don'ts.
yeah, thou shalt be shot in the back of the head if thou shalt have thus hence no parking. Because the parking is the most important part, okay?
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'll go to these venues, I'm a performer, I'll go to these venues, there's no parking. And in Spanish, the venue also says, why didn't you bring anybody?
Yeah.
My guy!
Yeah.
If the artist can't park, where am I putting my friends?
There's literally...
Huh?
Oh my gosh.
Where am I putting my friends? Because you want me to invite my friends to come see me perform the same song they see me perform everywhere. Okay? And at the same time, there's no parking, so why are you getting mad at me?
Oh yeah.
The one, and I performed at this one place. There was no parking. The parking was not clear. And this is when I started cracking down on it. I have straight up not done gigs because there was bad parking.
Is this
or
after this
no
one
parking.
incident? Is this the incident?
I think it is, but I'm not sure. I parked. I performed. I went back. I'm hitting. I'm like, I know. Did the Tourette's make its way to the ears? Hitting the lock button. Listening for my minivan. Silento. I'm looking around. I'm like, did I forget where I parked? I've got an air tag in my car, ladies and gentlemen. I get made fun of for it, but brother,
Oh yeah.
it helped out here. I'm hitting it. I'm like, yeah, my shit got towed. So I checked my air tag. It is across the town, and some bumbled up, like, Big Ed's towing and moving co. I'm like, son of a gun. So there was and I look at the parking. Everywhere else parked there. They must have been short because they rolled the dice, and everybody else parked there, but they rolled the dice and said, you know what? The minivan.
Oh yeah.
He is gonna get it. So I called I called the sign, and I was like, this is the first time I've ever been towed. So I was like, hey, are you the towing company? And the lady on the other end sounds like she smoked all her life, and she got to the point where she just stopped lighting the cigarettes and just started eating them. And she's like, yeah, we're the towing company. I'm like, my van got towed, and I was wondering if I could get it back. She's like, what? I want my van back. I have school tomorrow. I'm scared. And she was like, she said, we're closing in like 30 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Get here fast. And there was an ad there. She said the address to me, trying to write it down. Like, thank you. And then I saw my friends driving away. It was like the last people that I knew at the venue. I'm like flagging them down, like, guys, stop. They saw me in the rearview mirror. And then they backed up, and I was like, guys, I really need your help. My car got towed. Can you please take me there? They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh thank God. So now I'm like, so we're going to the towing place, and we're circling it because we're like, where on earth are we supposed to go? Where on? That's a pot where one of the plants were.
Aww.
So the plant is somewhere over there, potless. Awesome. Good deal. Yes! Love that. But yeah, no, we are circling this place, no lights at all, and we see this opening. So we're like, parking spot? So my buddy starts kind of wiggling his way. It's like past these two giant like barn doors. And like the farther we get in there, I'm just thinking, man, we are gonna die tonight. We are gonna be, dude, we are gonna be in pieces. Cause we're driving, and I don't know how my buddy did this. He like perfectly wedges his way, and about 3 minutes in, we realized that we were driving into the place where they put all the cars. And we start freaking out, because now we're stuck. All these cars stacked up on top of each other and stuff like that. I was sitting my keys, I was hearing like, I'm like, it's here, so I don't know what to do. So I called her back, and I was like, hey, we're here, where do we go? Like, there's no lights on. Mm-hmm. We look down the alley, and there's this guy sitting in a lawn chair with a flashlight, and he's flashing us. And she was like, look for Richard. Richard's got a flashlight. So we see him in the lawn chair. Oh yeah, great, yeah. So we pull up, and it's this really rough guy. He's like, what you want? You know, fat white kid. I'm like, I love Mom. Could I get my car back? He's like, what is it? The gray minivan. So I just lost 5 testosterone points right there. He was like, okay. He like claps twice, and then 2 guys out of nowhere like go inside to grab it. Like this giant, they both push the door like it's Game of Thrones, and they're out to like have a dragon come out. They push the doors, and they get in my car, and they drive it up, you know. I don't know how. It's because they didn't have the keys. I don't know how they drove it, but they did. I don't know how. I don't know if they had like a master key in there. But yeah, they drove it out, and he was like, $150. I'm like, what? $150. Luckily,
this is the best part.
Luckily, I'm a man of the future. Okay, ladies, I am an innovator. And like a couple days earlier, I had invested like $50 into Bitcoin Cash. So it was a really good market for it at that point. It was new. It wasn't Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin Cash, which is a subcoin of Bitcoin. So it was a full Bitcoin is like $30,000. A full coin of Bitcoin Cash is like $100. So I had invested like $50 like the previous week, and when I checked it at that point, it was at a market high unseen, and my $50 turned into like $230. So I'm like, holy. So I quickly transfer it to my bank. I dissolve the crypto and put it into my bank, and then I can pay him through Cash App. And it was like just like it wasn't like I think I was able to pay like 100 of it. I paid like the $50 out of pocket, but if you don't believe in God, brother, you do now. Because that saved my little olive oil loving booty. Because I paid that, everything was good. I only paid like $50 out of pocket.
Oh, if only.
And I left. And it was that day, like the veggies and Veggie Tale telling a good story, knowing that they did good work. I knew from that day on that if the venue doesn't have good parking, brother, I'm not there.
Imagine having to deal with drums. Like, there's some venues where you have to park across the street.
I'm so happy I'm a singer.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy. You have to park across
the street, and then when it's time for you to actually come up, because they're small venues, they're not going to let you just put your stuff down. So you either, A, grab your stuff, run across the street, B, pull up the car, you're double parked, trying to pull everything out real quick. Oh.
Yep, I'm so happy I'm a singer, dude.
I got not a venue. I got a wagon from work for free.
Good.
And that is the best thing ever.
Seriously.
It fits the drums perfectly.
Yeah, like when I perform with Juan, like I'll get there like 30 minutes early just so I can do some little sweet talking and whatnot. And Juan will call me like I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, hey bro, I dropped everything, and it's gonna take me 10 minutes to walk there. I'm gonna be just a little bit late. I'm like, oh, buddy, look, man. I mean, I'm already halfway in the conversation with her right now, dude. I can't lose this, man. Like this is you, man. You gotta go. You know, you've just gotta freaking hump it, man. And he's like. All right, bro. See you soon. See you, my friend. I'm like, see you, bro. Like, I'm halfway to her number right now, dude. You can't ruin this for me.
Left.
You really can't ruin this for me. This is a rare occurrence going on right now. Okay. As a singer, I can just park and just go in. Only thing I bring is my phone. My Pokemon Go ball and my wallet. So, but yeah, so that is that's you know, you might be wondering like why is Vanni talking about venues and all that? Like she's a graphic. Is she doing live painting? Is she painting naked men? Are you?
No.
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 Why do you have this much experience with venues?
My boyfriend.
What?
Oh
sorry, guys. She is taken.
I was actually gonna bring up the magician story.
yeah. Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. First of all.
Oh, finish that thought. Yeah.
Sorry, fellas. She's taken.
Yeah, my boyfriend's a drummer. He also.
My boyfriend's a drummer. Yeah, my boyfriend's in like a band. He's like a creative. He's like free spirited.
He does drum tech also, and he's currently studying show production. So he's been doing a lot of that. And so I follow him around all of Orlando.
Little itty bitty Vanni following
his little roadie, putting up a drum set, you know. All the things. Yeah.
So, me and Vanni have me and her have a great relationship. Just just your
wingman, if you will.
Just your good old guy girl best friendship, and with that comes a lot of awkwardness because when we were still like active in school, like me and her would be around each other a lot.
Yep.
And it looks like we're dating just straight up, and then you would get situations. So me and Vanni, it was New Year's Eve. We had nothing to do. I was like, "Yo, do you want to go to this new kava place that I found?" Yeah. You weren't dating Aiden at the time, so I hadn't been.
Yeah.
It
was just when we first started talking.
Yeah.
Because he had a gig in Tampa. I think.
I hadn't been replaced yet, and so we go to this kava bar, and we're just kind of hanging out. I'm getting my kratom. She's getting her, her fruit punch, and like there's a magician there. I'm like, huh, sweet, a magician. Like magicians are cool, and we're sitting there and enjoying it, and he grabs you as a.
I don't even remember what the trick was.
It was something with numbers.
Yeah, something
with numbers. He would like do math, and you were just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't even think you did anything. He just brought you up there to like pick some random numbers.
He had me hold a book.
And flip to a random page. So Vanni goes up there, and Vanni being the extroverted little sprite that she is, she hops on up there, and I'm still sitting at the bar just grinning.
Around a group of girls too.
Yeah, I was surrounded by what was going to shortly be absolutely unobtainable. So I'm already self-conscious. This really just added on to the fire. So the magician gets done with the trick, and he's like, "All right, thank you to my friend here." And then what exactly happened after that?
Well, it was during the thing when he called me up. He's like, "Oh, who are you here with?"
Yeah, and
I was like, "Oh, Stina." And
I'm like mid drink.
Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, your boyfriend?" And awkward pause. Stina and I stare at each other.
And she just goes, "No,
my best friend."
Yeah.
And everyone,
he's my best friend, and the whole place just goes. It's like, oh.
The girls standing around Stina, I'll go, oh.
All of them just look at me like, oh, guy best friend, like the fake guy best friend that's like, who's secretly in love with her but isn't saying anything, and she keeps saying that he's her best friend, but really he just wants to kill himself. Oh, he wanted to kill himself that night for sure. That was the only thing true of that situation.
Oh yeah.
And Bonnie's laughing through it. He's like, who are you here with? Like him, your boyfriend? No, my best friend.
Oh my god.
I just sunk into my chair.
After the show, the magician came back up to us to show us another trick.
Like,
and he goes, the boyfriend? I was like, we both, this time Sino took He's like, best friend.
Yeah. Don't you remember? Ask anybody around me. They do. They remember.
Oh my goodness, that was hilarious.
+1 here. Like, so, you are looking at the not finished being built tricycle going on here, okay? You are looking at a premature third wheel, okay?
Oh my goodness. Oh.
He does some more magic with us. I'm like, dude, leave.
Yeah,
shut up, dude. You suck, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to be around you right now. You by using a magic trick, have inherently made me untouchable for the next 5 hours, okay? Oh. If I had any kind of game that night, gone. That was so funny.
Oh.
Cause here's the thing, Vonnie's in a crappy situation because there is no winner. The only winner is if she was actually with her boyfriend.
Exactly, because if, like, in some situations, like, especially back then, if I was, like, uncomfortable in a situation, I'd be like, boyfriend, like...
Yeah, easily. And I would just be like, yeah, hey.
But then if I said that at the time, then you're off the market. And then if best friend, then you're like, aw, like, no way.
By him doing that, he had single-handedly, with one sentence, not just took me off the market, but put me on the loser market. Because if Vanni says yes, now I'm, because, girls were already trying to surround me, obviously, then I'm taken. If she says no, I look like a little simp loser. So,
yeah, there was no win.
That was awesome. That was sweet. Loved that. Man, so good. I feel like we have a lot of stories like that. I just can't remember all of them. Just like at I almost said it.
Oh yeah.
At the old cafe.
Did you see they started taking the sign down?
And I know why. And I'll tell you after this. And it is the worst. Think of the worst thing that could happen. It's happening.
Oh.
Yeah. It's
I don't think we're thinking the same thing, so you're down.
But no, it's like, yeah, we'll talk after. But
okay.
it's like that. It's the one thing that no one wanted to happen, and it's happening. So, but yeah, so at the old cafe, like, there was a awesome limbo before, in between Vanni's men, where I was like, I get Vanni, yes, like, the custody battle has been lost. I get Vanni, so me and Vanni were like hanging out.
It was like an everyday thing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
We would go to the cafe and just chill.
And like, I don't even drink Kratom. Like, Stino had me drink he had me drink a can once because I had usually just been like a sipper, but he's like, you gotta finish the whole can.
Yeah.
Kratom and I'm not good
I
friends.
think they do. I think you mix.
I think I know the issue.
You just get tired.
It's not that. It's just that I, like, if I have a cup in my hand and if I'm in, like, an awkward situation, I just, like, nervously sip. So I was drinking that faster than anyone should have been drinking that, and I think it just all hit at once.
Fair. Yeah, I definitely kind of brought that on you. But, yeah, no, there was a great grace period where the custody battle was lost, and I got Vanni for the weekend. And during that time, just people thinking we were dating and stuff like that we were just having, like...
Especially there, because you had, like, all the girls you were...
Yeah.
Your long list of maidens in need, you were like...
Oh. Well, there's a... Man, that place was just a brewery for making me want to kill myself. Like, there were just so many things happen where it's just like, yeah, that checks out. That makes sense. But yeah, no, that was in between Vanni's men, and we just had a lot of situations there that it was the same kind of deal. And then when Vanni got with the drummer, and I was like, all right, see you next time, But no, it was just a lot of situations like that at school. I don't know if you remember, but we were walking one time and, like, on campus, and like two guys just started hitting on you and the other girls.
It was never me.
It wasn't you. So I think it might have been C and S.
It was definitely S. Okay. Like that was definitely, like... Yeah. I'm so thankful for those situations. Like, it was never me, which I'm kind of glad about, because I don't know.
But were you there?
Most of the time, yeah. But I don't know if it was that exact situation. But definitely there's been times where just out of the blue, like, especially at those events, like, swarms, and I would be the outlier, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to deal with this, I'm so good.
I mean, because, like, here's the thing, is, like, our school that we went to, there were some real interesting people there.
There were some characters for sure.
We basically went to like video game high school.
My favorite line though, my favorite line is, "Oh my gosh, your work is so awesome. I would really love to work with you." I'm like, I haven't even shown you my Instagram with my work. You don't even know who I am.
Yeah, it was, dude.
He had the pot on his foot.
Dude, that doesn't.
Aww.
So Lars has just now murdered one of my plants outside. And how do I know that? Because the pot is in here, but the plant isn't. So that's awesome. But yeah, no, like it was just, because here's the thing, it was either like the school was either losers or cool people.
Yeah.
Like, we all kind of, now when I say cool people, I'm not saying like the cool kids, I'm just saying people that are cool.
Like they're chill, like you could actually have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people were like, they've never seen the word woman, you know, and they see a pretty girl who's maybe kind of nerdy or does what they need, and they're like, oh, like, ma'am, like, I really, really like your work. I was wondering if you could help me make cover art for my short stories, you know, like,
yeah.
And then it's like, dude, you haven't seen anything that I've done, and then right when you get talking, they're like,
or you would literally be sitting down with someone and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a great conversation.
Nope.
Thank goodness they haven't tried. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's, man, it's, I'm kind of glad I'm not a woman sometimes. Like, I feel bad sometimes because there's definitely pros and cons to things, and and there a definite con is just if you are even mildly attractive, which honestly every single person is attractive to somebody, but even if you're mildly attractive at a school full of basically losers, it's just some people. Lars has taken that pot on a road trip.
Around the town.
Awesome. Yeah, if when he comes over here, I'm gonna put him out on the balcony. But yeah, it was just because like it was a 50-50 of just losers and cool people, and guys always hitting on girls, and then you know, like people thinking that they were so much better than they actually were.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I think, you know, I think a lot of people can agree college is the best for everything you learn in college. On the most part, you can learn at home.
Oh yeah.
Okay? I'm not saying that, you know, there isn't a benefit to a college's education, that being the teachers, the connections that you can make with the teachers, hands-on stuff. But for the most part, you can learn everything at a college on YouTube.
Yeah.
The difference, and what I believe is the most valuable part of college, is the social aspect.
Oh yeah.
You are in a new place. In our case, we didn't have dorms. We had to get our own places. But same principle. You are living with new people, or you're living on your own for the first time. You're learning how to meet people. You're learning how to talk to people. You're in a much more mature environment, and you can learn how to assess if you're comfortable or not. Let's say at like maybe a party or an event.
Yeah.
You are learning a lot of things. You are becoming a responsible woman, a responsible man, right? So you are in a battlefield of everybody trying to figure this out.
Oh yeah.
So everybody sucks at it, and you just got to roll with it.
Especially with our school, like I feel like everyone was trying to overcompensate a little bit just because it's not the typical college.
Yep.
Like there was so much more, like you said, the dorms. Like everybody kind of dreams about the dorm experience and how it's gonna be like meeting all those people and stuff. But since we didn't have that, everyone that you hung out with was either at school or it's because you happened to get the same apartment as them because you were able to do that that way.
Yep. It's like it was everybody. Mostly it was a lot of people just trying to make themselves seem that much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And it was just because you're surrounded by the industry that you want to be in. So now you think you need to now show up, and there's a difference between that and actual confidence.
Oh yeah, humbly cocky is what I like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you come across, you're like, oh yeah, it's so nice to meet you,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, oh yeah, I do music, I do this, like
yeah, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
What do you want to know about my art?
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
you call yourself an artist, but you have one song out.
Not even. Some people just like.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, do you have anything on like Spotify?
No, I mean I have like one freestyle on SoundCloud, but like honestly, like I just kind of like perform like whatever comes up on my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, you can get a lot of confidence from that because if you're actually about it, and not even that, if you actually are willing to know what you want to do, that is the coolest person.
Yeah.
Like, I know for me, during all of college, like, I was all about performing and music and all that stuff, and I still am to an extent, but I've done a lot of self-reflecting, learning, looking back at during that time and just cringing at some things that I used to do or used to think and learning from it. That's the most important part. If and I love this little thought of if you can look back at yourself and cringe.
Oh yeah.
You are making progress.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And brother.
Yeah.
I cringe a lot when I look back at myself during college.
Oh yeah.
I cringe a lot.
It's crazy because I constantly think about like how the first 6 months of college for me were the longest period ever. And the minute
it's because everything is new.
It's that, and then that's when we kind of like figured out like group doesn't work. Like most of the time, a group is not gonna work. You're gonna have people within a group that work out.
Yeah.
But the whole like niche like.
I wish we could get into that.
I
think that can't really be talked about publicly until like 10 years from now.
It's just you just got a lot of personalities and you just have to find what works for you, because there's some personalities that just they don't click, and sometimes they're able to make it work, but you get to a point where you're like, why am I even doing this? Like it's just a little too much to handle anymore, and it's just like there's just a straw that breaks the camel's back.
And you learn that, because once that happens, it's the worst. It sucks. You don't know what's going on, but then after that, you kind of learn to navigate that in the future. Like I know since that whole incident, that whole thing, like I know personally, I just don't like friend groups.
Yeah.
And I actively, I don't refuse to be in them. Like, I have a friend group right now that's like the old cafe people.
Yeah.
Okay? We have a group chat.
Oh, yeah.
We go and do things sometimes, but I'm usually the one that doesn't go to anything because I just don't like it.
I think it's okay to have like a set group of people that you go out sometimes, but like
you
with
don't,
us,
you don't have to do everything together all the time.
With us, it was like constantly being over at like HQ, like the main apartment,
all
the time, every day,
getting nothing done.
Yeah, like I had the hardest time. Like we would go and we'd be like, okay, we're gonna have like a study day, homework day.
Nothing.
I would sit there and I'm like, I cannot focus. I would literally just go home and just knock it off work.
They would just start drinking. It's like, oh, what am I doing here?
Yeah, like, that's one thing.
What am I doing here?
I do not find myself, like, wanting to drink. Like, I know you talked about it. Like, you're not, like, a social drinker. Like, I just, being around that and specifically, like...
Sucks.
It was, like, any option they had, it was, like, they had to. And it wasn't even all of them sometimes. It was just the select few that did. It definitely set the mood, and you're like,
and it's like, I said this on a previous episode. I've got the same handle of vodka in my freezer from my birthday.
Yeah.
I just don't like drinking. I like drinking socially if it's in moderation, or actually can you close that while he's out there? Cuz thank you. That's good. It's just cuz some guy started leaf blowing, but yeah, it's just like it's just not. I'm not the type of guy. I don't look for drinking.
Yeah.
I let drinking come to me.
There's some people that plan stuff around drinking. They're like, oh, okay, like this day we have free, so we're gonna drink all the time. Oh, well, what do we want to do with that? We want to go bowling. Who pre-games bowling, especially when you're all underage? Like, why would you even put yourself in that public setting? I
didn't go to that. When that happened.
Yeah. There's definitely stuff that I think about, and I was like,
yeah.
It just baffles me.
But again, we are cringing at that.
Yeah.
Because we've grown.
Yeah.
We know who we want to be around. Like this little group that I have now, there's already been drama in it. And I thank the God I believe in every day that I'm not a part of it. So I'm not a part of that part of that drama. That's Lars just went Apache helicopter on the boxes there. Yeah, I'm not part of that drama because it's not that I'm being distant with these people. It's not that I'm avoiding these people. These friends of mine are very aware that Stino just doesn't like going out that much. Like we went to an arcade one night, and that was awesome. Yeah. And I hung out with all of them there. I had a couple of beers. It was a good time. But I don't want that to be every day.
Yeah, I don't
want that to be every day.
I have a select few of friends now. Like obviously you, Hunter. I've got other friends and stuff, and I think it's important. We're all busy people, so we don't need to force hanging out. When it happens, it happens, and obviously we still text from time to time. But having that constant everyday thing, it was a lot, and
it's grating.
Exactly, and most of them live together, so they had to see each other no matter what. But I'm you gotta have the option, and it's funny saying that because my boyfriend and I are we're talking about moving in.
Yeah.
And so obviously we're gonna see each other every day. We pretty much do every day.
But that's different.
Exactly. Because I think we've made it work where we share some friends. And we know how to hang out with them together, but we also have that separation where we can go out and hang out with other people. When we were in that group, there was no one else to go hang out with. Obviously, you could branch off and be like, oh, yeah, this one person from the group, I'm going to go hang out with today, or I'm going to go hang out with that. But then you would just meet back up with the group, or they would, bring more people from the group, and I'm I have no one else that I'm going to go talk to besides them.
I mean, that's why, I had, Hunter and Sav.
Yeah.
Because it was I was one of the only ones that had a nice little group just from music and stuff outside of it. Yeah. Look. Yeah,
my issue was that with graphic design, there was 6 of us. In our class the whole way through there was pretty much 6 of us.
You kind of had to be friends.
Yeah, we had to be friends, and it's not I was forced upon it, but I obviously did enjoy hanging out with them, but there was no other place where I could get friends. Obviously there's networking events, but you've got people in different months, you've got people in different programs, and they just no one treated graphic design the kind of same way. It was pretty much they saw us more as a service rather than a person.
Absolutely. Yeah. The graphic design kids, I feel we're just kind of used a lot.
Yeah.
Just because, no matter what you do, graphic design is needed in everything creative. If it's a movie, if it's a book, if it's a short film, if it's music, if it's even the business degrees.
Yeah.
If you needed a website, and I feel like a lot of the graphic design people were relatively shy, not introverted, but just kind of not people that would go to some of these music events and like talk to like every single person there, right? So obviously came to a point where it would make you guys uncomfortable, and then you had the loser guys who just
there was also some people that just didn't know what graphic design was, but they didn't bother asking, and they would just go on talking about what they did instead, and it's like, okay, like, cool.
I mean, we have a lot to look back on during our college time. I've certainly, I believe, since college, I believe I've matured a lot.
Oh yeah, same.
And that's funny because it's like when I remember when I was in college. Now, for a frame of reference, next month will have been a year since graduation.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Oh, man, that is wild.
That seems so long away.
Next month will be a year.
Yeah.
From when we graduated. Now. So a year ago, we were all still in college, and I remember thinking when I was in college how much I had matured then from high school.
Yeah.
But then now we're thinking, and you know the funny thing about life is we are going to continue to do that.
Oh, for
next year, the two of us are going to be thinking about things that we did this year. Yeah. And we're going to look back and like, man, why did I say that, or why did I do that?
Oh, yeah.
It's all about growth. But unfortunately, some people just don't grow. For some people, it takes a little longer too.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, we certainly learned a lot during that time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've got a couple. So, what does that say? Oh, so we talked about my van earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of...
Dually mobile?
It's not the worst thing in the world to be known as the guy who has the minivan. I can bring a lot of people to parties and stuff like that, you know. I can carry 2 chairs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But one time I was going to a Valvoline to get my oil changed, and do you remember when the old group put a bunch of stickers on my car?
Yes.
I mean, when they did that, I thought it was really funny. Like, I actually didn't mind it. They put all these like really,
I love the move over one. That was the best one.
Like they put a bunch of these really cringy stickers on it,
Minions and everything.
I also kind of got I was also kind of like, they also knew that I come from like a really like Midwest kind of town, so there were always like Second Amendment jokes with me and stuff like that. Like, you take away my guns, I'm gonna take away your heartbeat. You darn Biden lover, you know. So they would put like those really cringy stickers of like a skeleton smoking a cigar. Like, if you take away my Second Amendment, I'm gonna take away your will to live. You little sissy liberal, you know, stuff like that. I think that's hilarious. But one of the stickers that they put on was a perfect replica of a sport model insignia. Hey, Bubbas. Hey, We've got Lars up in here. Hey, Bubbas. Say hi. You know, it'd be really cool if Lars just chilled and just sat here really cute, so we could have a cute little cat on the podcast. But no, he has to go kill my plants. But no, I had a little like sport emblem on my car in the perfect spot. It looked great. So I went to the Valvoline to get my oil changed, and I pull in, and they're doing the standard stuff. Let me see the inside of your door, blah blah blah. And then one guy is behind the car, and he's just looking at it, and he's like, he's like scratching his head. He's going back and forth. He grabs a buddy. They're trying to figure this out. And I'm looking in my rearview mirror like, normally we would get going by now. Like, what are we doing? Give it 3 minutes, and everybody in the shop is now standing behind my car. And I didn't have the faintest clue on what was going on. I'm like, are they admiring my license plate? That is actually just my last name. Are they admiring the fact that I am from the great state of Illinois? What is going on here? It hadn't crossed my mind yet. But I'm sitting up there, I'm like, man, what is good? So I rolled down my windows, and they're all talking, man, what are we going to, what's the deal? Finally, the boss comes out, and he's like, guys, what are we doing? And one guy's got his tablet, he's like, man, I'm trying to find the details of a sport model Grand Caravan minivan. Because they're looking at the sticker, trying to find what kind of oil goes into this car, and they couldn't find it. They were looking for a sport model of a van that either single moms or only lesbians drive. And the boss is like, man, you stupid son of a gun, that's a sticker. All 6 of them all were like, oh. When I found out that's what they were hung up on,
they could have asked you.
They also could have known. It's a car shop.
True.
Like, yeah, they could have asked me, but at the same time, the sticker was also in the wrong place.
Oh, yeah.
So he comes up to my window, he's like, hey, man, sorry for the wait, man. The sticker kind of threw us for a little bit of a loop there. I'm like, what sticker? Oh, the sport model sticker you got on the rear end of your van here. I'm just thinking like, dude, there's no way, because everybody in the shop stopped what they were doing to come look at it. So they finally get me my oil and everything, and that sticker is the last one. Actually, no, I have the color of it fell off.
The Prestige one.
That one is like has been
faded. I know.
I don't think it's even there anymore. Like the sun.
Oh yeah.
Destroyed that one. But no, I think the sport model one is gone. The color fell off of it though, and then I have one minion.
Oh
in
yeah.
The bottom right, just as a little badge.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, that's that story. The minivan comes in handy. But man, what does he have?
I think he has a sock.
Gosh, I try to do my laundry and keep my socks and my underwear together.
It's in the box.
Is that guy gonna pick up his dog's poop? Nope.
Oh.
Awesome, bro. Thanks, dude. I live with the best people. You just put the sock in the cardboard boxes. I really hope I remember that so I don't throw that out.
Well, he's in the box now, so.
Good deal. Awesome. But yeah, no, the minivan came in handy a lot. I got made fun of it for a little bit, but until they realized that I could take 8 people to one party because I don't drink.
You also drive that thing like Dom Toretto.
No, so. I don't. No, I don't. That is a straight up fib. You are fibbing right now.
Okay.
I drive.
Mama Dooley, he drives it super safe.
I drive great. The way I drive, it's the best way. Everybody says I drive the greatest. No, okay, yeah, I mean, like.
When you're in the car, it's fine. When you're trying to follow the car, that's a different story.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. When you're in the car, all you can think is, wow, he is very efficient and awesome and cool. When you're following me, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, the first time I had to go to your old place, we were all following you. I don't have an address or anything. You're just like, follow me, it's fine.
Yeah.
Stino, I don't know where I'm going.
I mean, I like to be efficient. I like to be punctual, okay? I do whip that hoe, though. I do.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I've got a little bit of. I'm the Toretto with the Tourette's, brother. Like I've, like, dude. I agree. Fair enough. You know. I mean I am a very good driver.
You are, yeah.
Like I'm probably one. It's not that. I'm not one of those people that does this rudely, but I always offer to drive.
Yeah.
Because I just feel better if I'm driving, just because my car's got a lot of armor on it, you know, and
oh yeah, for
and
sure.
I think I'm a
I
pretty
hated
good driver.
having to take my car.
Yeah, no, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
But something else I wanted to talk about. So a couple weeks ago on the previous episode, I talked about how my tics would make me undesirable at the gym, and just because my eye tick would go and it would be like a girl would think I'm weak, I'm like winking at her, and that would be awesome. And I just completely lose that one without even saying anything. I think it's a little magical how I can just create a situation that nobody wants to be in out of thin air. But my tics have been getting pretty bad recently. So I thought we'd do a little participation here. I'm gonna go through my tics. You're gonna do them, and you're gonna rank which one is the most annoying. I feel like I'm
gonna get canceled.
No, you're not. No,
I thought you were gonna talk about when we like first hung out, how I didn't know you had Tourette's.
We can tell that after, but so a few of my tics right now. I've got one where I have these two rings.
Yeah.
I have to constantly do this.
Oh yeah.
So I do this like all day.
I have do different these two, rhythms. So like if I'm with my hands,
I have to do this. Obviously, I have my face tics, my neck tics, but the one that's really been bothering me, I have this stomach tic.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Where you flex your abs and then you suck in.
Yeah.
And it's like, it looks like I'm about to throw up. And it's been getting really bad where like I have to continually do it even in conversation.
Yeah.
So I'll like at the hospital I'll be talking like, yeah, it's over there, and they're like, oh my gosh, like is he gonna throw up? I've got that one. I've been playing games recently, and on the keyboard I have to continuously press the caps lock button. And it literally hurts. Like it hurts because I have to keep doing it, but if I stop, it's like I have to keep pressing it. That one is the absolute worst. But it's the stomach one that's been really bad. But no, tell me about what story did you...
It was like, it may have been the same day as the watermelon.
It had to be, right?
I didn't know you had Tourette's because like me and you hadn't talked before.
It's not really something that
I knew.
I don't have a business card that says it, you know?
Well, everyone else in the group knew
because
they had been hanging out with you before. I did not know. So Stino and I are sitting having a conversation, and I noticed his stutter and stuff. But it was the first time he stuttered, so I thought he was like trying to remember the word and stuff, and I finished his sentence, and he stopped. Dead face. And he goes, you know, Vanni, that's one thing you never do to someone who has Tourette's. You never like finish their story. I was like, I am so sorry.
I pulled that one out on you? Holy crap, that's intense. The first day
we were like meeting, and I'm like...
That's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the worst thing. Like, that is the one thing, like, I don't mind everything else if you kind of, if you're a friend of mine and you kind of, like, laugh or if I start laughing about it and you're just kind of like, yeah, that, you know, that did take you a while to get there, but it's the finishing the sentence or the word. That one, I'm like,
yeah,
that is the one thing you do not do, brother. You're gonna be here with me. You're gonna go through it too. You know, like, we are gonna get through this one word together.
Oh yeah.
That one, that one is tough. I do pull that one on people just because, you know, they don't know, but at the same time, it's also just kind of a rude thing to do in general. But when someone does say something about it, I do kind of, what's the word, like, I do use it to kind of get intense and be like, you know, it's because I have Tourette's. Did you know that? They're like, oh, I had no idea. Like, I'm like,
you haven't introduced our third guest.
Oh my gosh. Well, before I introduce the third guest, I'm gonna tell the story. I was at my cousin's wedding, and I was sitting I was one of the what's the name for the guys up on stage
Groomsmen?
too? I was one of the groomsmen, and I was at the table with the bride and the groom and blah blah blah, and one of the bridesmaids I was talking to her about something. She's sitting right next to my cousin, who's sitting right next to his now wife, and I'm saying something to her, to the bridesmaid, and I stutter, and she says something along the line of like oh did you forget what that word was, or just something like that. And right when she said that, my cousin looked at me. He was like, I looked her right in the eyes. I said, well, it's actually because I was born with Tourette syndrome, so I couldn't finish that word. I have a perpetual stutter that can't be cured. When I say red, I mean red. Her face instantly just absolute blood red.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm really sorry. I had no idea. And my cousin's kind of laughing. He's like, dude, nice, because he's seen me do that plenty of times. There isn't a lot of space in there. How is he even finding a place to run?
I don't even know.
Yeah, Lars is a little undercooked up in the old noggin.
You missed the arm sticking out to try to grab the sock.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get in this.
You have a
The
lovely
people
lady.
that I tell this to, they are more shocked by it than find it amusing, which always frustrates me because I think it's.
Well, it makes sense if you.
No, it doesn't. I think it's hilarious.
It is funny counting the circumstances that I met said woman, but.
I just when I tell this to people, they 9 times out of 10 they're like, what the heck, dude?
But at the same time,
I think it's funny.
At the same time, what were you gonna do? You weren't just gonna leave her.
Thank you. So, I brought this up on the episode with Emerson, or Impact. I have a friend. I have 2 roommates. I have Lars, the underdeveloped cat who is currently going headfirst into a box where the sock isn't in. It's outside of the box. And I have my my second roommate, and her name is Linda. Who is Linda, you might ask? Linda was a human. Okay. She stays in one place, right next to my fridge. I did find her on the side of the road, next to a dumpster, to be specific. At the foot of a dumpster. So, my friend Linda was going to be thrown away.
Can you specify what form she's in? Because it just sounds like you found a dead body.
Just, hold on. Linda was going to be thrown away. Destroyed. I wouldn't call myself a hero. Okay? But I'd like to think that I am a bit of a miracle worker. Okay? Linda, I brought her in. Took her off the side of the road.
Give her shelter.
Gave her shelter. Thank you. I don't need to feed her. Because she is not alive. One day, me and my mom were out. And we passed by this dumpster. And in an effort to throw away the stuff that we had just,
we had just ate some stuff. We were gonna throw stuff away. I saw this particularly nice looking vase next to the dumpster. I look at my mother. I say, "Mother, that is a nice looking vase. I think I might take that vase and put a flower in it, perhaps a petunia." I pick up the vase and she's got a bit of weight to her. I wonder why. Why does this beautiful vase have some weight to it, and why does this vase have a lid? Huh? Weird. I grab the vase, put it in my lap. Mom's driving. And we're driving back home. And I get curious. And I screw the lid off. There was a piece of paper in there. I grab the piece of paper. And right at the top, big old letters. Certificate of cremation. And under that piece of paper was a sealed bag full of a woman's ashes. That, my friends, is Linda. I have an urn full of ashes from an old Spanish lady sitting on my kitchen counter. Roll that up and smoke it. Well, don't. That was a bad phrase. Add that up and show me your numbers. There you go. Huh? What do you think about that, huh? I think I'm a bit of a hero because, let's be real. What evil person do you have to be to throw ashes away like that?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even in the dumpster. It was just, next to it.
Well, at least, they didn't toss her
I
in
guess,
the
yeah.
dumpster.
But, who... it was all still sealed. The certificate was in there. Everything was still clamped. The bag, the actual ashes in, wasn't opened yet. Who does that?
I don't know how many people that actually open the bag.
I don't know, but who does that?
Yeah. That's yeah.
And I, being the benevolent caretaker that I am, ladies, I was like, dude, I people knowing my personality, they would be weirded out if I didn't take that home. Because that's just a great story. That's just great. I love having things that are confusing to explain. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
So I've got Linda, looking at her right now, behind my fridge. She's sitting on my kitchen counter. And that is a hard one to explain, as you might imagine. That's a difficult icebreaker. When I had my 21st birthday party, she was a bit of the center of attention.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because people were asking. I had her...
you opened the door with her in your arms.
Did I?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. That's awesome. Good. Linda and I were partying that night. I was under the influence a little bit. 21st birthday party. I thought, I'm partying with Linda tonight. I put Linda in a bunch of different positions of partying. I put alcohol next to her. I put Nintendo Switch controllers in front of her like she was playing Mario Kart. I had her doing, a keg stand, so Linda...
I think I was there for that.
Linda participated. Vanni was the only sober one there.
Yeah.
So she kind of got to, that and my, actually, no, I think you were the only one. And she was also the only woman there except for my downstairs roommate.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'll say about her, because she does have access to my Instagram, so I don't know if she's gonna see this. But yeah, so Linda partied hard that night, but a lot of the guys there were connoisseurs of the devil's lettuce. And there was a small window of time where I was worried that they were going to actually smoke her ashes. So I put a kibosh on that real quick. And I said, we are not doing this. That was the only lucid thing that I said in my state. And then I went back to eating an entire bag of chips. But yeah, Linda was a good participant that night. People think it's weird. Yeah, it is weird, but I also think it's funny. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The urn would be in a dump right now.
Yeah.
The urn would either be in a dump or on my kitchen counter. Okay?
Why in your kitchen, though?
Where else am I going to put her?
I mean, you could display her over there. No, we're the food.
But that avoids the conversation.
True. Yeah.
I'm not wanting to, like, show her off. It's just kind of
That's
like
true, yeah.
hey, you know, like, when I have a girl over, like, hey, what's that?
It's a vase.
Urn. Dead Spanish lady. Never knew her. I did find her Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That was sad. But yeah, that is, I'm just going to call her Linda for now. But yeah, that is the story of Linda, my roommate. Maybe she will, maybe I'll have an episode with Linda. I'll put her, like, right there.
Oh, yeah. You gotta do, like, voices.
No, that would be probably the worst possible thing I could do. I think that might be the final thing that takes me to hell. But no, I will be as respectful as I can. But at the same time, she is on top of my box of ramen. So, but yeah, that is Linda. We've got a few more topics. Actually, didn't you have a topic? But yeah, pee break. But yeah, you were asking about Evo. Yeah. I do have more roommates. Holy crap! I've got Lars, Linda, and Evo. Evo is my beta fish. I got him pretty early.
Yeah.
I got him. It's kind of funny. I mean, I got him when the worst of the worst happened with the group and me.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because I got Evo. I named him Evo because it's short for evolution, and I named him that because that was the period where I was in the most pain emotionally, but I knew that it was only going to make me better. So I got him because I could look at him and remember that time and remember how sad I was and how upset I was about everything that was going on. It was a lot of love, a lot of hate, a lot of this, a lot of that, and I named him Evo because I got him when that was all happening, and I could look at him and look back on the evolution that actually happened to me during that. But yeah, you know, we like we said, we went over the school stuff. I don't think I said this on the episode with Impact, but you know, the school was by months.
Yeah.
So it was kind of odd, but you know, we graduated a year from next month. And you know, a couple months ago, when I realized that it was only a few months away, it kind of scared me, just because it's like, wow, like that doesn't seem that long ago. Mm-hmm. But when you think about it and you think about everything that has happened, it feels like
it's been forever.
It does, and I think that makes me feel a lot better about it, because I didn't get a job in like music yet. Mm-hmm. I have had a lot of opportunities that just fell through or didn't work. And it made me feel like really, really upset. I felt like I really did feel like a failure of sorts, just because everyone else around me is getting jobs in music and in studios, and it makes me think like, why not me?
Yeah, that's definitely the hardest part, like, mm-hmm. especially for graphic design. I didn't want to go into, like, a studio setting and mm-hmm. kind of just be, like, behind a screen all day. Like, obviously there's stuff I want to do. I just don't know how to find that particular mm-hmm. job. Like, I know what my style is. I know what my strong suits are and what mm-hmm. I want to do. I just can't find that. And so, like, I started out as a balloon decorator. Mm-hmm. Like, I did that for, like, 6 months. And it was, like, a cool job. It was, like, I got to see a bunch of different stuff, and, like, I was still being creative. It was just not how mm-hmm. I wanted to do until I found the job that I'm at now. And I'm finally like starting to get to use some of my graphic design abilities and stuff, but like even then what I was doing before, it's like pretty cool, like what I still do now, kind of.
Yeah. So you had that too? Just kind of like
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's tough, right? Because we hear everything that people say. Don't rush things. You won't get what you want right away. But
you weren't lying.
Yep, I told you. But you truly can't prepare for it for when it does happen, because it does suck, right? Because you've got all of the people that you went to school with are around you doing what you want to be doing, and you think like, dude, I did everything that they did, so what's up, right? And everybody's different, right? Everybody has a different path, and just because they're doing what you want to be doing doesn't mean that it's better. For example, right? I interviewed with a studio. I interviewed with many studios, but there's one in particular. The interview went great. In fact, they even squeezed me in. Like, the interview was that day.
Yeah.
It was going to happen in an hour. They closed all slots for it. They shut off a ton of people, but they let me slide through because I've already done some work with them. So I was like, dude, I think I'm in. They're letting me cut the line, go to interview. I go there. The interview goes great. Everybody there knows me. I leave and I didn't get it. Yeah. And my friend got it, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I let that eat me for a long time. But just the other week, that studio announced that it's closing, and it's selling everything.
Wow.
You don't have to believe in God to have this experience, but I truly believe that that was the case.
Yeah.
Because I was so envious. I was full of envy that had happened. But then just the other week they're shutting down. And this is the number one studio or like the 1 or 2 studio here in Florida.
Wow.
I have a job that's paying me so much more right now at a hospital. Is it what I thought I was ever going to do? No, I don't think anybody who knew me ever thought I'd be working in a hospital. But I am, and I'm doing great there. I'm getting paid a lot more than what I would be doing the music. Well, then it begs the question, well, at that point, would you rather be doing what you love doing and getting paid less, or this and that?
That's where I'm at right now.
Right. And, I don't think that's a truly fair comparison.
Yeah. Because
you can do what you love afterwards.
Exactly, yeah.
I let that eat at me even when I was working at the hospital. I remember thinking like, oh, I'm at this hospital, I'm not where I want to be, blah blah blah, feel bad for myself, all of that crap. I finally, and again, maturing, right? I finally, a couple months in, I finally matured to get to the point of realizing how lucky I am to have a great job that's paying for everything of mine now, and I get to go home and continue doing what I love doing, and I'm still getting paid for that sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it the same way as everybody else. I found that I love doing this podcast, and I want to do more with it. I want to turn this into an actual brand, and I want to do multiple shows, and I want to do multiple different kinds of entertainment, and I'm starting this and that, right? Like, you are always going to find new things that you love doing. I'm not going to stop doing music, but I've had a lot of time to think, and I've had a lot of time to come to realize why I feel certain ways towards the music industry and doing it, and
how I think of myself in it and why I'm always so envious and getting down to that core, you have to go through that.
Oh yeah.
What was your experience with graphic design in that?
So I kind of am the same way you are with music. Like anything I put out, like up until now, recently, I'm like, oh, it's not good. Like I don't get why people are liking it. Like the stuff that I'm doing now, I'm like, this is what I want to be doing. Like it's definitely hard for me to like push myself out there in that regards, but Aiden, like we've gotten to the point where he wants to like do more social media to promote himself. I'm trying to promote myself, so we're like trying to like push each other to like get out there more, and like stuff I'm telling him, I'm like, oh, I could do the same exact thing, but like as far as my job now, I work at a screen printing and logistics company. So we do like fulfillment for other companies, but we also do in-house production. And I am the screen technician, so I am the one that pretty much gets all the screens ready and puts the design on there for them to go get printed. They hired me because of my background in graphic design. Originally, I was a press assistant, so I was pretty much just the one setting up the press, and then as the shirts came around, I was taking them off the press, putting them to the dryer. So there was no graphic design need there. But now, with the screen technician, I kind of have time to do a little bit more depending on the amount of orders coming in and stuff. But I'm a part of the ambassador program for the company, and so I get to like help make events and like do different like theme days and stuff for all our employees. And so it allows me to do a little bit more graphic design there, which I'm excited about, because leaving school, I was like, I don't want to do like corporate graphic design because it's just like brochures and slides and stuff.
For sure.
But now that I have a little freedom, like I'm still doing slides and like flyers and stuff, but it's a little bit more free, and I'm able to do a little bit more whatever, because like this company, it's a bunch of nerds, like Star Wars, Back to the Future, anything you can think of, like I'm able to play around with that. Whereas I know a lot of other companies, it's like, no, this is our style guide, you have to hit this, this, and this, it has to look exactly the same, like no movement there. And so like I had a hard time the first couple of months at this job, because I'm like, I definitely wanted to get into screen printing. It's just something that I've enjoyed, like just looking at it. I'm like, oh, this is cool, like you're able to get a shirt like that. And so it was definitely like a lot mentally, because it's a drive. It's like 30-40 minutes there plus traffic back. I'm not getting paid.
I've got the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not getting paid as much. I'm like, it's definitely a tasking job, but I think now we're finally hitting the turning point where I'm like, I enjoy my job. Like I'm doing a lot. I'm getting recognized for stuff that I'm doing. And it's still like, do I find another job closer and kind of start from ground zero again? Or do I just keep pushing and seeing what I can do while still doing the freelance on the side that I know that I enjoy 100%? Like, this is the design I want to be doing, or like where to go.
I mean, look, there is I think you cannot do something creative without without a little bit of humbling yourself.
For sure. 100%.
Because when you first get into it, you're all excited, you know what you want to do, you won't settle for anything less, this and that, and then you realize you have to kind of humble yourself and your ego, and you have to say, well, I can't do that yet, because that's not how it works. Very rarely do you just get what you want right away. You have to make corporate stuff. I have to record poets, you know. It's and if you continue to look at that work in a negative light, then I don't think you'll ever get to where you want to be.
Exactly.
You have to go through the mud to actually get to where you want, because even though corporate stuff isn't super exciting,
there's a lot of opportunity there.
Oh my gosh, because dude, like any big corporation or business will now look at you and see,
And honestly, half the time they are the easiest client, just because
I bet
they know exactly what they want, and they're like, Okay, yeah, that looks great.
They
Absolutely.
know how to talk business
Yeah.
because they are business.
Exactly.
You can actually do that, and look, like you have to do that to gain some credibility and some experience.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
people who are stuck up and say, "No, man, I want," like a lot of these engineers and people who say that they record and have a studio. I mean, the meme is funny saying, "Yo, come to my studio," and it's like
Yeah.
their bedroom, you know. Um, Not, 5 times out of 10 that is the case where it's crappy and they had like a lot of talk. This is a studio.
Yeah.
I have every piece of equipment in my. I live in a studio apartment. This is basically my living room. I have I have the equipment that a professional studio would have. But you just have to get over that hump of thinking that you need the best at first. Like I started doing this with a lot less stuff that I have now, and over time I've gradually learned and realized how important some things were more than that, and that the most expensive thing isn't always the best thing to have right now, and there's a lot of learning and just realizing that you have to do the most with the littlest handed to you first, and then because look, I mean, at the hospital, obviously I'm not doing anything audio. I'm a medical supplies technician. That has nothing to do with music.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love doing it because it is something that I've actually kind of fallen in love with doing. It's a lot of fun. It's an easy job. Not that it's not a lot of work. It's a lot of work doing something easy.
Yeah.
Once you get
Oh, yeah.
once you get it down, there's an air of feeling important because I'm around patients all day, and I can feel good knowing that it's helping them. But this didn't happen right away. This happened with a lot of talking and a lot of getting to know people, and I had to bite the bullet and say I can't hold out for a music job right now because I've got this job at the hospital that wants me right now. Why am I going to waste that?
Yeah.
What was I going to say? But yeah, like you and like with the whole you were talking about social media and stuff like that. Like, don't do something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Don't do something you don't want to do. And I've been doing a lot of that kind of reflecting in the last couple of months, where I remember, like, as an artist and as someone who makes music and performs, like everyone says that you have to be active on social media,
Oh, yeah.
which you do. I'm not saying that you don't.
There's just different ways to do it.
Exactly, you definitely do. But I just remember, I hate making content.
Yeah.
I hate it. And I would just do the most bottom of the barrel Instagram trends and this and
Yeah.
that, and I felt like I was doing something. I put it on my story, but it's like, it's nothing. Like, I'm not doing anything, and I hated doing it. And I thought I hated making content.
Mm-hmm.
When I started this podcast, making those highlight clips is more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I realized, well, that's the difference. It's not that you hate doing something. It's just you're not doing it in the way that you like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you kind of trick yourself into thinking that.
I just don't like it at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, like it's okay not to like what you think. It's okay to say, I tried this, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people have a really hard time with that because in their head they believe
they're not good.
Exactly, like like the only reason I feel like quitting is because I'm not good enough for this or that. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not surprised that happens in graphic design too, because I mean, art is art, and art is so personal.
Yeah. Like,
when someone doesn't like your art, it's really, really hard not to be upset by that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to experience that subjectively, because when someone doesn't like your art, that means that they don't like your ideas and your inspirations.
It sucks because like sometimes you could already be feeling iffy about something, and then just someone's like,
yep,
not really,
yep.
and I'm like,
and that
okay,
just,
then that actually sucks.
It just like solidifies that thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying something new and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if like I'm into it, I don't know if I like it, and someone's just like, yeah, no, that's not it, and you're like, okay, next thing.
Yep. It's a lot, guys, and what I encourage is just to find something that sustains you, even if it's not what you love doing.
Oh, yeah.
Find something that sustains you. Continue to work on what you love doing outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't force yourself to do things just because you think you have to do them.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that I would recommend to everybody that's doing this. Who is your favorite painter?
I'm such a Picasso girl.
Picasso.
Yeah.
I was gonna do like a. I do have a list of painters. I was gonna do like a tier list thing, but it is also an audio podcast. And I realized that whiteboard is not magnetic, which sucks. That totally this. Lars is Spider-Manning again. I was gonna have the whiteboard and put painters on magnets and do that, but then I realized that whiteboard is not magnetic. So, what is your thought on and I hate this word. It is the worst word ever. NFTs. Do you know anything about that?
The bare minimum. I was actually just listening to a podcast the other day where they were talking about this.
It is pathetic.
It was so hyped up for like.
Everyone
2
thought
seconds.
it was gonna be the future.
Exactly.
Like, man, like all these crypto bros that like that still live with their parents are like, man, like NFTs are gonna be like the new normal, man.
Yeah.
Web 3.0, man. Like, if you don't have NFTs, like, sorry, Gramps, you boomer.
Yeah.
But it's like, so if you don't know what NFTs are, it stands for non-fungible tokens. When they were big, all the news, all the talk shows had all the buzz about it, like Jimmy Fallon, and they're talking about things that they don't fully know about, and it's just the most pathetic thing. So it's basically crypto, but it's a piece of art of like it's like a JPEG or a PNG. It's a piece of digital art that you can own on the blockchain. And if you know what I'm talking about, I just said like 6 buzzwords that make you just pee your pants because it's just so annoying. And the reason I bring this up because as a graphic designer, as much as it sucks, you could make a lot of money just from abusing the system.
Yeah, that's true. I think certain design in any way, like, it's an easy market just because people are always looking for some sort of art. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's, like, if NFT specifically is the realm.
But the NFTs aren't even about the art.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Exactly.
Because
they're just like, oh, I have this one, but it's like, what's behind that?
It's really about the depreciating or appreciating value of it going up and down and blah blah blah. So, it's like there's this guy named Beeple. Do you know Beeple?
No. Beeple's
the most first stupid name. He's like the most famous NFT artist ever, and he made. It was either him or someone or a different NFT artist, but they made history. They sold the highest selling art piece in human history when the artist was living. So obviously Picasso's and Van Gogh's and Pollock's and all the stuff, they sell more than that, but it's posthumous. It's after their death.
Yeah.
He made the record of the highest selling piece of art while the artist was still living. It was for $69 million. Stupid. Because the thing about NFTs is the moment you buy one, you already have been duped.
Yeah.
Because the only person that benefits from NFTs is obviously the seller.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the reason why people buy NFTs is because they think that they can dupe someone else with it, but they're already getting duped themselves. And the only I just wanted to bring that up because with the internet, we there's a lot of avenues for art that one could say it sounds easy, but really sometimes it's just really not worth the effort.
Yeah.
69 million is worth the effort, but you don't. The only way you get to that is if you already have an online presence that large.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's pathetic because it totally died. Like no one talks about it anymore, really. The crypto bros, like the Silicon Valley bros, just keep trying to it's like definitely like it's the new thing, man. But stuff like this, it burns out so fast, so hard, and yeah. But no, the list of painters I had, so I wrote this down, but I'm feeling really stupid right now. I don't know if he's actually a painter or not. I know he was an inventor. Was Da Vinci a painter?
Da Vinci, it's more of his diagrams. He wasn't necessarily...
I don't know why I thought Da Vinci was a painter.
Yeah, because, it's more of, like, the diagrams and his sketches of, like, his theories and stuff.
Now, now that was, like, all of the inventions, like, the flying stuff and stuff like that, right? Okay. How about, I'll put down Frida Kahlo.
Oh, God. Absolutely love her, yes.
Yeah, no,
yes. Very rich culture.
I really, really like some of her pieces. I really like it was very, very centered around nature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Picasso, tell me why you like Picasso so much.
I mean, just a classic. Like, now that I think about it, I'd probably have to put Van Gogh above him.
Yeah.
Just because I love, in Van Gogh specifically, the brush strokes. Like, you can see, like, everything there is intentional, and it's not like this brush stroke's meant to be covered up. It's like, no, you have to look at these brush strokes, and each one's there specifically in order to make the whole thing. And I just love, like, that texture look of it, kind of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next one was Van Gogh. Man, like, there's a lot of cool media around him. I know.
Oh, yeah. I love all, like, the, like, imitations of it.
There's this movie called Vincent.
Yes, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
I've never seen it, but I heard that the whole movie is animated in his painting style.
Yeah.
I think
I would love to see that.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. I actually have the Lego version of Starry
seriously?
Night.
I think I saw that. No, it's incredible. Who was the one that did like the screaming person on the bridge?
Was that no? Was it Van Gogh?
The one who was like,
I know. I want to say Van Gogh.
We're
googling this. I know I'm graphic design. But
I think
so bad.
I think that's my favorite. That one. Actually, no. I do have a favorite painting ever. And
oh no, that was
who was it?
Edvard Munch.
Oh, he was my second guess. I do have a favorite painting ever, which might come as a shock, but I truly love this painting, and it is my favorite painting. It is The Great Wave.
Yeah, classic.
That is my favorite one. I have a canvas print rolled up in my drawer right now because I don't know the dimensions, and I'm a little too lazy to go buy a frame for it. But it's a replica of the Great Wave, but it has like a bunch of Pokemon on it playing in the water and stuff like
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
I need to find a frame for that and put that up somewhere. But I don't. I threw away the paper that it came with. I forget the dimension. What about like Pollock? Is he? I know he's kind of kind of like, is he lazy? Is he a genius?
I think for me, I love some of like the lazy design kind of like, especially all over like my Instagram, like the doodles, like some of those, like just that basic like simple like could do it in a notebook, like honestly that's like some of my best design. Also that I think it's just so like it's got so much character.
It's raw.
Exactly, like you're able to do so much with it where it doesn't take that much thought, and it's like, oh, this is like so relatable, whereas like some of the other art, like it takes like, oh, it has this like massive deep story, all this pain, all this suffering and stuff, and it's like, I just made this doodle and it's like super cute, and it's like everybody's able to enjoy it, and like
for sure.
That's something where like someone's like, oh, like I'm able to like doodle like that. Like they can make their own art kind of.
I absolutely agree. Like with Pollock, like a lot of people say he's just a lazy guy who came up with this pretentious way of painting, but the thing with art is like everything you call art is art.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest thing about art. If it's music or painting or film, every single thing, if someone calls it art, it is art because that is the definition. It's something that someone finds admirable enough to be art, even if there's almost 8 billion people on the earth. If 7 billion 909 blah 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 people say no, but one person does, then it is still art. So like some of my favorite films are like the super artsy films. You remember when we went to see The Menu?
Yeah. That was so good.
So good. It was really weird.
Sometimes indie films are the best films.
It was weird. It was creepy. It was a very contained story.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen The Menu, I definitely recommend it. It is. I won't spoil it, but basically, this guy is a huge fan of this chef, and he doesn't have. And then it's like a couple's retreat to go eat some of his meals, but he needs someone, so he hires a prostitute to go with him to act like his girlfriend, and it's a horror film, and it just very slowly does it get worse and worse and worse, and stuff like that. Short films, I think short films can be better than full Marvel movies because.
Sometimes
people
it feels
can just
like
get
there's
creative.
too much filler,
Yeah, people can just get really creative. Now, again, you have to call it art because the person who made it calls it art. But things like when you go to modern art museums and it's like one line.
Yeah. Because people, they're like, oh, well, there's such like interpretation behind it and stuff, and it's like, yes, like,
sure.
Obviously you can make a story up behind it,
but
and you can be like, oh, it's so organic and it's so like freeing and da-da-da-da.
But where is the line? Because it is art. You have to call it art because the artist did. But where's the line of like, okay, they are doing this because they know they can get away with it, or are they really that pretentious that them?
Sometimes it's even just like kind of protest against the idea of art, like how so like some people are going so heavy and how so simple you can be, and it's still just as like respected.
Taping a banana to the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, then people buy it for like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like I've bought a few pieces of art. Like I've got one up there. It's like a little thing of Naruto. I've got one in my bathroom that's like planets. I've got yours.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I forgot about that.
So like I don't buy art as much as other people might, but when I do see something that I like, I'm like, yeah. But
I mean, that one, for example, like, people could see that and just be like, oh, that's just, like, mess. Like, it's not, like, it's not fine art.
Sure.
Like people have it's all in like
It
perspective.
it might not be as uniform as that Naruto
Yeah.
as that, like, because the Naruto piece is like very simple line draw, but no, like,
that's just line work.
but yeah, like it's all subjective, and also for very, very rich people, it's a great tax evasion thing.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. Not legal advice. But yeah, like I've definitely drawn things in my notebooks in high school. I might try to put it up on the screen right now, but it's not like it's not amazingly drawn art, but what I was just throwing up on the page, when I look back at it, I just think like this just looks really cool, because I just made this whole mess of characters and things. It was usually pretty dark, and yeah, like super cool. But yeah, guys, do you have anything else on your mind?
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, we want to thank you for coming by the Something Cafe. If you want to shout out your stuff real quick, all of the links for her stuff are going to be in the descriptions and whatnot.
On Instagram, I have my art Instagram. It's Vanni.arts. It's VANNI.arts. And then my main Instagram is _VanniBella.03. Pretty sure. Yeah, it'll be linked. I kind of just do a bunch of random stuff. I've been trying to post more on my art account, just stuff here and there.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, go and follow her, commission her, make you a bunch of logos. And yeah, thank you for coming by. The Something Cafe is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Go rate it 5 stars and whatnot. And if you listen on Spotify, you can leave questions and comments. You can leave questions and comments on Spotify. I can publish them. I'll bring them up on the next episode. Same thing on YouTube. If you want anybody on, or if you want to be on, let me know. And I have a very cool thing that I'm going to announce in the next week about this podcast. I've got a little something to start showing y'all, and I'm really excited. And yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on, thank you for coming by Something Cafe.